I think that contract is done
Well,
at the end
I
of this
think
year.
who is it? Who's on the? It's the RNA guy. I forget who it is, but he's on the OWGR board. And then you have Jay Monahan, and then you have one of the PGA of America chief executive officers. Not only do you have these tours that are owned by the PGA Tour, you have part of the PGA Tour that's on the board that's ranking these events. I got into it with a guy about the Pebble Beach thing because he was like, "Well, the Live guy's halfway down the Live leaderboard, and for 20th, he's not getting ranking points, and they don't deserve it because it's Live Golf and they play music and shit." I like look at the Pebble Beach scoreboard. There's a guy who shot 6 over, last place, Pebble Beach, shoots 6 over for 4 rounds. He gets ranking points. And then you have a guy who goes to Adelaide, which I believe it's got to be a little bit tougher of a test than Pebble Beach, unless Pebble Beach has shitty weather. But I don't think I mean, maybe we'll just say the same. I don't, again,
Well, I think the winning scores were around the same,
yeah,
but even then, Pebble had some. I mean, it got a little windy and stuff, but it whatever.
right.
Either way,
We'll call it. I
it
mean,
doesn't
Adelaide looked
compare.
firm to me,
It doesn't compare.
and that's the thing is we had a guy that is in Adelaide that shot 9, 10 under for 4 rounds, and he's not getting any ranking points. But then you have a guy that shot 6 over, and he's got ranking points.
Yeah. Well, and for those of you who are listening and don't know this, the LIV Golf finally got some world ranking points this
Yeah.
season. I think that's partially why they went to 4-round events.
Uh-huh.
But secondly, they said the official World Golf Ranking said we're only giving you ranking points for the top 10.
Yep.
So
Yep.
so essentially, there's no difference between taking 11th place and taking last place.
Yep.
And that's just ludicrous.
If you have an event that doesn't have a cut, you need to give rankings for half the field. If you make the top half of the field, you get ranking points. If you make the bottom half of the field, you don't get ranking points. But what's nice on that spectrum is you can still do the signature events for the PGA Tour. And what you can also do for the LIV Golf is you can still have the bottom half of the field playing because they have that team element, right? And so they can still play all 4 rounds. They just have to know that if they don't finish in the top 30, top 40, whatever, they don't get ranking points. And that's okay. If everyone's agreeance there, then this whole situation would be solved. You would have the PGA Tour being able to do their signature events, and then you would have LIV Golf still having their team portion, but they both would know, okay, these players in the bottom half of the field just get 0 points.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, you could even say like, what is the cut? 60 in ties or
Yes.
65 in ties or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 70 in ties.
Yeah.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. You could take that ratio of what the tie that number is. If there's a 156 player field, and let's say it's 60 in ties for the cut, then what's that like top? It's not the top half. It's actually the top like 40% or so, roughly.
Yeah. Right.
My math.
There you go.
Obviously, I added the subtracted in Q school, but I'm just saying roughly, it's not even the top half. But that's a
Yeah.
great way to solve it, I think, or at least to make it comparable to where it's like, okay, you might show up and you might be getting a paycheck, and that's great, good on you because you earned your spot there. But you can't just like cherry pick all of these
Yeah.
points, world
100%.
ranking, world ranking points, but maybe even FedEx Cup points.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. I mean, you can't show up to a tournament, in my opinion, in today's world on the PGA Tour and shoot 6 over par and get ranking points. And
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm not saying they don't deserve to be there. It's bad. Bad golf can happen to anybody. That's fine. Let them play bad golf, right? We see people on the bottom half of the leaderboard that have won tour events. So that's just the nature of the beast. But those players need to understand, okay, I have a bad week. I shot this number. I don't deserve these points, and that's fine. And that to me makes the most sense because if I'm
Yeah,
shooting 6 over par, and yet I got a guy in Adelaide that's 10 under par, and yet the 6 over par guy gets ranking points, and the 10 under guy is not getting anything. Like we are gatekeeping at this point. We are
yeah,
picking and choosing who deserves the points and who doesn't based upon merit or based upon reputation. Well, the tour's been around since the nine. Can't think like that because the PGA Tour started at some point. just like LIV started recently, and we have to give them the same respect that the tour is given. And I know they're newer and they have a different format and they have different ideas, but why can't we modify everything? We can make some simple changes that would fix all this. And so what if the fans don't like it or not? This is not the point. Is people don't, and those for you who don't know this, the more points I get on the OWGR system, the more opportunities I have. And we've talked about runways. The more points I get, the bigger my runway gets, because then I get placed in bigger tournaments that have bigger purses. And then once I get placed in these bigger tournaments, then I have more opportunity to financially gain. Therefore, I can create more of a financial system that's supporting me, that gives me that longer runway to perform, right? So if I want to play in these majors, if I want to play in these high-end events, I need world ranking points. And so that's why it's so important, because these ranking points really help these professionals, give them opportunity to play in bigger events, which helps them financially down the road.
Well, yeah, and the main thing is the majors, and
Yes.
essentially the official golf rankings are gatekeeping the majors.
Yeah.
If I'm the majors, actually, is one of the Masters guys on that board or no?
Yes. Trevor, it is. It's the shit, what's his name? Um Here. I think
I can't remember his name. Doesn't matter. Well, while you're looking that up, I'll just keep going. You just chime in.
Yeah.
Chime in. But no, because I don't want to lose my thought. But
No. Will Jones, executive
Will Jones.
director
Okay.
of
So
Augusta National.
and then there's the RNA guy. So like in a
Yeah.
way, and then the PGA of America. So like in a way, they're there. But then there's also Jay Monahan.
And then
So
the
like
USGA guy.
he should have recused himself
100%.
every vote. But
Yeah, you have a PGA Tour European Tour Group guy. He's a chief executive officer. You have a PGA of America, PGA Tour, the RNA, and you have a USGA guy.
yeah,
That
so it's basically everybody except for LIV. And so I totally get you can't just give world ranking points to whoever applies for it, and there has to be some basis of criteria, and I get some of that. But like you brought up is the point that the PGA Tour goes out and basically breaks all of those rules and still gets their points. And it's merely because legacy and tradition, and they have the whatever, the clout, and that's really because the PGA Tour is the mafia of golf. Again, they try to act, not only they try to, they do act like they own the game.
Yeah.
That if you win a golf tournament on this tour, it doesn't mean anything. And if you win it on their tour, it means everything, right? And I just think that's bogus. And I know they wouldn't say that explicitly, but that's what the actions and policies that they do. And same with like what they say. And they've fought dirty, man. I mean, they have gone low blows
Yes.
to me with against the Saudis. I just came from Saudi Arabia. I have no ties to Saudi Arabia for any other reason, but I went there. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the people. I enjoyed the culture. It's actually very American. There were big streets. They got big trucks and cars. I finally, there's not a lot of trucks in Europe, so like seeing a F-150 Raptor was like sick. I was like, yes, let's go. And their gas is super cheap, and they're just ripping it up.
That's awesome.
They're giving away gas down there. But I really enjoyed it. But regardless of that, they try to make this moral argument like, oh well, it's blood money and blah blah. Like, bro, do you realize our government? Let's go. We're gonna go red pill for a second. You realize our government has been doing business, giving military and aid and all this stuff with Saudi for decades,
Yeah.
and now you're gonna say something about it? And not to mention they put so much money into the women's side of the game, and nobody complained about it then. Nobody's saying some women's player is, blood's on her hands because she played a tournament that was sponsored by them or even sponsored directly by Golf Saudi. And that they're so easy to say that, or quick to say that against the men, like it's some moral responsibility that they hold. I mean, it's just, dude, the whole situation's wild. So I think that argument's totally bogus.
Yeah.
And yeah, does it matter where money comes from? Yeah, for sure, sometimes. But there is plenty to say about, especially some of those areas that the cool thing about sports, the Olympics is going on right now, and one of the cool things about the Olympics has always been is that sport gives us an opportunity to put our differences aside
Mhm.
and to come over and compete and enjoy a game, whatever you're doing, or a sport, and it builds bonds. It shares culture. It transcends. It gets you above the fray and the noise of political chaos and or violence or whatever is going on
100%.
around the world. And golf is a great medium for that. Golf is a fantastic sport that for people to share together because not only is it a great honest game where you learn to police yourself and all that stuff, but you also it's such a long game. You spend a lot of time with each other. When you play golf with someone, you really get to know them a lot.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, maybe they're not opening up so deep all the time, but or especially in a tournament setting, but you're gonna get to know somebody over a golf game, especially practice rounds where it's more laid back. I've gotten to know plenty of guys like that. And then even outside of tournament golf, for sure. I mean, the networking possibilities. I'm a middle class dude. I've been able to play some crazy people like CEOs and ambassadors of our country to other countries and senators and whatever. I don't not want to like name drop all these people. It's just it's the point is that if you get in those kinds of audiences and you ask the right question, you get to grow and learn yourself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And the cultures I've been able to see and all that stuff, like, dude, this is why the game needs to grow. This is why what Live is doing is good.
Mhm.
It's not golf isn't an American game, right?
No.
And sometimes they forget
It
that.
didn't start in America to begin
It
with.
didn't even start there, bro. It didn't even start.
No.
That's what I'm saying. But they're acting like, bro, it doesn't count. And it's like, what are you talking about, man? We're Anthony Kim was just golfing.
Yeah, and like you said, the ball doesn't
And
know any
I wanted to
different. Yeah, the ball doesn't know any different. It doesn't care what you
don't
are.
lie.
It
Don't
doesn't lie. And that's I think it brings, like you said, whatever social class, whatever demographic, whatever political side, whatever belief system you have, golf does not care. It brings everyone to the same level. And when we can bring everyone, and I think sports do that in general, but golf for sure does that because we know golf, you can be as athletic as you want, still not going to guarantee you a good golf swing. You got to learn the golf swing, you got to learn the game, you have a lot more external factors there. And so golf brings all these personalities and walks of life on the same plane. And when we're all in that same plane, you can really learn stuff not only about yourself, but you can learn stuff from other people and you can end up developing connections with people that you never would have thought were possible. And like I said, we're
Absolutely.
to tie this to the AK thing, it's like he kind of revealed that again with what happened. It was a guy who went through some dark shit, whatever it was. I don't know what it was. We could tell by the what he looks like now compared to what he looked like before. He's covered in tattoos now. You're like, dude, this dude must have went through some shit. And he got back into the game, and obviously he's very talented, but someone gave him a chance and he performed and he ended up prevailing through whatever he went through. We got to see that old Anthony Kim again, and that was such a revitalizing thing for us because I mean, again, golf brings everybody on the same level, and therefore what our true character is gets revealed. And whether or not he had a bad past or he did some fucked up things, or I don't know what, but we got to see him who he really is. And like you said, when we play with people, golf really reveals who you are. And I think there's a beauty in that. And we can get away from the noise and all the bullshit. We can just be in the moment of this golf course out in nature talking whatever we want to talk about, but that is what golf is about. And I always tell people the more we take away accessibility from this sport, the more we are taking away from potential of growing ourselves and growing our society because it really is a game that is as close to life as you can get, and it's not meant for you don't have to be 6'3" and black to play it like the NBA nowadays. You can be whatever you want. I mean, there's guys that are super tall. There's guys that are short and fat. I mean, it's got every single personality you can think of, and guys that can't shoot a basketball worth of shit But they'll go on a golf course and you're like, that is one of the nicest swings I've ever seen. But you get this guy throwing a football, he looks like an idiot. And it's like, well, yeah, maybe he's not very athletic, but he's taught himself this golf swing and he's taught himself how to play golf in a way. It's kind of like chess, dude. It really is. It's like this
I,
black and white situation. These are the pieces you have. There's multiple ways of creating situations in front of you. There's not a right way or wrong way of doing it. It just depends on the moment that's presented. And you either prevail or you don't. It's not like if I showed up on the NBA basketball floor, I'm going to get smoked, absolutely torched. But if I show up on a golf course and whoever I'm playing against, you never know. I mean, maybe if the guy's not very good that day or whatever it is, we even have a handicap system that allows this to still go on to really you talk about really leveling the playing field. You can get guys that are not even experienced playing against tour pros. You throw the handicap system in there and poof, now we're definitely on the same level, right? I'm having to give
yeah,
a guy 30, 40 shots. You're like, well, dude, I gotta shoot. If he breaks 110, dude, we're toast. I gotta start moving, right? And so I just feel like golf is a very revitalizing game, not just because of the game itself, but it really teaches people and cultures to come together, whether you are from the same country or from the same demographic or not. And that's why like the Francis we met story against him and Bobby Jones, right? That to me is amazing. You have some young kid who is passionate and love the game as much as anybody, and he's up against a really profound professional. Both are very talented, both have the same skill, but Bobby Jones, he couldn't just show up and be like, I'm going to overpower this kid, right? The golf ball doesn't give a shit, dude. It don't
well,
care.
technically Bobby Jones was a amateur still, but
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
what you're saying. He's a seasoned player.
A very seasoned guy, right? And so
Yeah,
it's really cool to that kind of is what AK brought back to it. It brought us the taste of, okay, this is what golf's about, no doubt.
yeah,
And we need to, and again, I don't really think, I don't know, I feel like the European, Asian cultures, everything outside of the United States is probably a little bit more based on this. But I think the United States with the PGA Tour, we've somewhat lost sight of this in a way. And I think that Anthony Kim story kind of maybe, hopefully, will get people to bring back because everyone says growing the game, and I'm all for that. And I want to remind people, golf is very addicting, and I don't think it needs to be pushed and said, "Hey, we're going to grow the game. Everyone wants to play it." No, I think golf will forever be appealing to a certain crowd. It's a niche sport, and I think no matter what, people will find it appealing. But the more we take away that accessibility from it, then that's when we lose sight of, okay, this game is not really progressing. And so in the States especially, we need to make it more accessible. I think that'll solve everything. And I have solutions. That's a whole different deal. But I'll kind of say one thing that I've always thought this is to me what needs to change, and this is a very good metaphor, at least for me. So if out of all the golf courses in the world, there's one golf course that wins in nostalgia, that's St. Andrews. There's no place on this planet that touches that place. That is the home of golf, that bridge on 18. Dude, that is like for a golfer, that is as good as it gets, man, because there is every single golfer you can think of that has walked across that bridge. And what always blows my mind is on Sundays, they turn into a park. You can just walk that shit. No one cares. Your dog
bring
can,
your dog out there.
your dog can take a shit in the middle of that
Dude, people are
18th green.
just walking around playing frisbee and chilling. Like
And
I had no idea.
I still to this
Yeah.
day, I'm like, this is incredible. And yet, in a golfer, you're thinking that is the most sacred ground on the planet. Like, if somebody said, hey, we're going to destroy St. Andrews, every fucking golfer would lose their fucking mind. We would be up in flames, dude. Even me saying that out loud makes me sick to my stomach. I'm telling you right now, you would have 10, 12 million people just in this country alone that would sign a petition immediately, right? Because you're like, you're not destroying St. Andrews. Well, this is what I find so interesting. Augusta National, you can't walk on there. You can't even think about walking on there. And people are like, well, it's Augusta National. And I'm like, no, I think we're missing the point here is St. Andrews opens its doors for anybody. They just let it be. And again, your dog can take a shit in the middle of that 18th fairway and no one cares. Yeah, pick up your dog shit, please. But the fact that can you imagine walking 18 at Augusta National and your dog taking a shit in the middle of that fairway? They would lose their minds. They would lose their minds. And
Ugh.
I just feel like Americans, we need to get back into sort of that mindset that they have overseas. And that metaphor to me always, I tell people that and they're like, I didn't think of that. I'm like, dude, there is golfers that have played this game for 60 years will never see Augusta National. Never. But if you lived in Scotland, you could walk St. Andrews every Sunday and you could see that place. You could see every hole. They don't care. And I'm thinking like, okay, what are we missing here? And for some reason, that metaphor to me, and again, tying that to AK is showing the world that this is what golf is about. And it's a beautiful game. It's a game that is revealing of people's characters, and I think it's a game that needs to be very accessible because it really does heal people. I think it heals societies. It gives people some mental health positives on that. I mean, look what he went through, and look where he's at now. I mean, that to me is incredible. That always again, I find that so fascinating because like even Seminole down in Florida, like you so there's people that are never going to see that course, but that course compared to St. Andrews, you're like, no, I would destroy Seminole 9 times out of 10, but if you destroy St. Andrews, dude, I am going to be pissed. Like I don't think you would destroy golf, man. Um,
Well, yeah, I mean, the culture has the respect for it. It just wouldn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
I'm not saying something has never happened on St. Andrews during that time. It's just it's more of a way of life. It's just as much as the people's as it is the
Yes.
golfers too. You know what I'm saying? So
And that
obviously, they're not
accessibility and that accessibility, man, is I think is huge. And I think Anthony Kim has shown that to Americans, like, hey, this sport is meant for anybody. Even if you were really talented and you went down a dark road, you're allowed to. What's the prodigal son? That like that metaphor. That is exactly it. It's like we're family. Yes, these other sons did what I asked, and they were good. They were good for a family. And this one son decided to go off AWOL, do a bunch of drugs or whatever. But he came back. Yeah, I'm not gonna be like the PGA Tour and be like, ah, dude, we're gatekeeping. You know what? You've lost your chance. Fuck off. No, like we'll open the doors, let that individual back in, and then just let it be what it is there. And yeah, I think the golf family, we all got a little taste of reality with his story, and kind of, I think people found the baseline. Again, these are
yeah.
really deep thoughts, but I think Americans, this is why we lose the Ryder Cup so much now, is because now we have players that think they need to get paid to play,
Right.
right? And I'm like, are you serious, man? Like, come on. Like, you are
Yeah.
representing your country right now. You have
Yeah.
young kids that need people that are like, I will sit here and play my best golf and I will perform the best I can because this is beyond me. This is not about me. This is about performing well for my country. This is about providing an example. And it's just sad.
Dude, that's such a good example, bro. I mean, again, there's the economic hat that I could wear for a second and argue, well, they should get paid. I mean, they're using their likeness, they're drawing in the crowds, blah, 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 the players, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, 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 no. Like the Ryder Cup is, again, another transcendent kind of like an Olympics. It really was our Olympics for a long time in golf before
100%.
they put it in the Olympics.
100%.
And the President's Cup is also the, you know, it's a thing that does transcend uh thoughts like that, like putting our capitalist mindset to it, which I'm totally a capitalist mindset. I mean, golf is meritocracy and stuff, but other things are like, hey man, who to be so concerned about money is to miss the point of what's going on here. I mean, this last Ryder Cup, I mean, really, I was ashamed of a lot. And that was a big topic, obviously, about how the crowds were and stuff. And
I know.
I'm not gonna lie, I warned people. I said, "Hey, I'm here in Europe, and so a lot of golfers are asking me, "Hey, what do you think is going to happen in the Ryder Cup?" And I'm like, "Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. I don't know who's going to win, but I know who's going to be the biggest assholes you've ever seen, and that's going to be the New Yorkers because they're the worst.
Oh, they are.
They're the meanest people in America. That's for
And
sure."
and our country right now is such in a and people and I know people are starting to see it, but our country, and it's not just in golf, in life, there's so many financial barriers and there's so much stress in our country that we're not even seeing the beauty of sport anymore because of the amount of stress and the amount of hardships that these Americans are going through on a daily basis. That as something like the Ryder Cup, we've lost respect for that tournament, not because of the tournament itself, but because of the underlying reasons of the American culture. And that has a lot to do with, like you said, golf should be used for a way to escape, have good mental health, level the playing field. The golf ball doesn't know any better. So it makes people spiritually feel aligned no matter where you come from or how much money you have. But because our golf culture in the Americas have really aligned themselves financially with golf, that now you have this younger culture that thinks that golf is a money sport, whether they'll tell that you out loud or not. And and that's why I feel like the PGA Tour is having a hard time with interest because, like you said, golf doesn't need to be so aligned financially. It needs to get back to its roots. It needs to get back to these profound stories of people, the underdogs, the David Goliath kind of situations. And again, Anthony Kim, that's what he provided. Is he gave people a little window of, oh, I can see now why this game is so beautiful. I didn't know this. I thought golf was all about making money, and again, I know it is, but there's a threshold there, and I think, like you said, the PGA Tour is made it so hard to access it and to develop that runway that now you have the culture of the golf world. It's almost like they're naturally are pretentious because you feel like you're an elite and you're part of something that not a lot of people are part of. And so this whole gatekeeping element has created a culture around the Americans of like, hey, we deserve to act this way because we are a part of something that's bigger than the people themselves. And as you and I both know, that's not golf at all. Golf is meant for everybody. Doesn't matter where you come from because that's like the Francis We Met story, the Ben Hogan stories, like the originality of golf and what it came from was these underdog David Goliath situations. And that's why golf is so beautiful because the golf ball does not care how much money you make. It does not care where you come from or what your past or what anything is. All it cares about is right here and right now. And that levels the playing field. And when you can see the side of that and the beauty of that, then that's when you start to realize like, okay, this game is much bigger than what we think it is. And I'm not saying people don't deserve to make money from it. They do. But the PIP and like we're paying Rory McIlroy in 2023, we paid him 25 million to be a player director. It's like, man, dude, anyways, you get my point.
In 25 million is 25 Corn Ferry Tour purses for the entire year. Talk about shortening runways, and I'll go on one more rant because I'm going to
Yeah.
bed. But um, the shortening the runways is where the PGA Tour really missed the boat. Is when they changed Q School.
Yep.
And the reason that they're missing the boat on that, or totally missed the mark, in my opinion, that's where things started getting really bad, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, is because when you took away the cards, yes, I know they have 5 cards now, but that's still like throwing a bone. Like that's nothing. It should be 25 cards or at least 20
Yeah.
and ties. And that category should be sitting pretty nicely. Like there's too many categories on PJ Tour right now. But basically what happened is when they changed Q School, they did a couple of other things. They also started, I think they bought the Canadian tour. They started the Latin America tour and the China tour, PGA Tour China. And then they made those tours feed into Corn Ferry. Corn Ferry feeds into PGA Tour. And that was their main pathway to the PGA Tour. The only pathway was through Corn Ferry or the occasional DP world rankings. I played good enough in majors, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
People were doing both, right? DP. But what ended up happening as a byproduct of that they didn't see was down at the bottom level, the guys coming out of college. Now they've added PGA Tour U and things like that, which I do believe is actually great. That's a great program. That's giving guys places to play and rewarding them. But they didn't see at the bottom of the mini tour level how all of that affected mini tour golf. And mini tour golf used to be, back in my day, you could go out and win 40 to 60 grand a week in like 3 or 4 different tours around the country. Okay. You couldn't win close to that in a PGA Tour Americas event now. And the reason for that is because the fields were huge. The fields in mini tour golf dictate the size of the purse, because the more players you have, the more money goes in the purse. But
Right.
what happened when they opened up those feeder tours and they dangled the Corn Ferry Tour card out? They all scattered and they went to those tours, right?
Yeah.
And what do those tours have? They have Q schools to get on those tours, which is fine. Okay, whatever. But those
I
Q
see where this
schools,
is going.
they all charge whatever, $2,500 or whatever it is now. You add up the amount of players that played all of those Q schools, and it adds up and covers all of the costs for the purses of that tour. So the PGA Tour is not actually really putting money into there.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe they are a little bit because you got staff and stuff like that. But I've done the math on it. They're not actually investing in these tours. You're just playing for your own money, just like you were on the mini tours, but you're playing for less money.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But you can move up. 10 guys will move up to the Corn Ferry, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. But there used to be always one time a year where you could go out and you can get through 3 stages, even pre-qualifying. They added pre-qualifying in. The one year I got through, or whatever, I've got through a few times to finals on PGA Tour, but I went through pre-qualifying, first stage, second stage, final stage. And that was the dream, man. If you could sign up and you could play, you
Yeah.
could do it. But here's the other thing that people didn't see about how it ruined mini tour golf is, and also the runway analogy we're talking about, is that you used to be able to go, let's just say you're like me, okay? And I didn't have family money to go put together
Right.
50 to 80K to go chase it. If I go to a backer or a group of guys at my club or whatever, a lot of people do, and I don't have family money to fund this thing, I've got to go sell myself to some backing. And it used to be, hey, I could go play mini tours this summer, get my game sharp, keep grinding, maybe we'll make a little bit of money, maybe we'll break even, maybe we'll lose a little bit of money, but we've got a vision here because we're just getting ready for Q school. And if I can get through Q school, guess what? By January and February, we're hitting the West Coast swing and we're all at Pebble Beach playing the pro-am. And that's exciting, right? That's exciting.
100%. That's what I'm thinking.
This is exciting, right?
Yeah.
People want to be a part of that. I want to be the guy to be a part. It was a much easier sell. But now when you took away Q school and you made Corn Ferry the only pathway,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Now you go from Q school to Corn Ferry, play a whole year on there, then you can graduate. So what did it do? It doubled your ROI time
Yeah.
for an investor or a backer.
Yeah. And
Right?
then it forced the
So
player to
that's
have to. Yeah.
much less exciting. It's much higher risk for them. Okay. And it becomes harder. So less guys were playing mini tours.
Yeah.
Right. And I could complain about whatever, or I wouldn't say complain because I don't want to say it's complaining. It's just, that's how it was. That's what happened. I was there. I watched it. I was in the meetings.
Yeah.
I was on Corn Ferry when all this happened, and we were all
That
like, "Whoa."
makes total
So
sense. That makes total sense, dude.
Yeah, that's the trickle down effect of what that's why to me that it ruined all the big Hooters tour, the Gateway tour, and I know they've morphed a little bit some of these tours. The old e-golf tour. Dude, I played an e-golf tour event, which is some say it's the G Pro now. It's not. They're not related, but the Carolinas tour, right? The e-golf was kind of the Carolinas tour, was
Yeah.
the Tar Heel tour. I played one, a handful of them, but I played one. I think it's actually Tony Finau was playing them. There was a bunch of big names still playing them, guys that were working their way up. And um, I mean, the winner was taking home 40K.
Oh,
You know,
oh yeah.
they were doing, but dude, there was double courses, double tee times on both courses. That's how many players were playing mini
Oh,
tours.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
The Gateway tour was great down in Arizona. You could go out. Charlie Belgian kind of been going viral lately. He's the Gateway tour king, really. Or
Yeah.
well, it was Gateway, but he's kind of the desert king down
Yeah.
there for a lot of years. And I wanted to tell you, I mean, dude, that guy. Just side note, that guy carries a gun in his bag everywhere. Total legend, bro.
Uh,
Totally base.
was it like a little 9mm or something, or
I don't know. I didn't see it. I played a practice round with him once, and he was like, "You just never know, man. I'm not going down like that." Not that he's going to use it on something. He's not. But like he's like really into like self protection and like protecting his family, and he's like, "I always have a gun on me." Period.
good?
Now I don't know if he was doing that in tour events. I'm not spreading
Well,
rumors.
good, good
We
for
were
him,
just
dude. Hey,
this is a long
I did
time
the
ago.
same shit.
So, but no, what was I saying about the Gateway? The Gateway was the same way. It was kind of like a spring training. It was during the 1 year I played it. It was during spring training for the baseball, and because they're all down there in Scottsdale. It was a fun time, man, but it was also really good competition. I mean, huge fields,
That's what I mean. And I
a lot
wonder
of
if the
great,
fields
lot of good
now.
players coming out of that stuff. And now you don't see it. Now they're chasing the Americas tour. They lost PGA Tour China after COVID through COVID. They've combined the Canada and South America. Now they're calling it the Americas tour. So
Yeah.
there's really only one other whatever bigger mini tour. And they're playing for pennies, bro. I mean, they're playing for nothing. It was way better when you could go around, pick your schedule, play some Hooters, play some e-golf. And the thing was, you could just buy yourself in. You didn't have to go to Q school.
Was it Nike
Uh,
tour too? Wasn't there a Nike tour?
yeah, well, Nike Tour, I think, was the Corn Ferry. I could be wrong about that.
No, that makes sense. Well, I just remember back when I was in middle school and high school that the mini tour circuits were I mean, it was like appealing because I remember being like meeting some of the guys in high school, like, oh, you play on so and so tour, and they were making, I mean, pretty decent money, I thought, or at least they were motivated enough to do it. Um, but yeah, nowadays it does. It feels like you have to pay your way in to get those runways.
Even the mini tours, I think they were back then costing, um, they were less than $1,000, but right around the bigger ones were like 1,000, let's just say, give or take,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is a lot of money. And travel expenses and stuff like that. But like I said, it's a much easier sell to your guys at the club or your backer or whoever, or even your parents, if that's the case too, to say like, yeah, but here's the vision, and by this time next year or even before that, we could be playing on the PGA Tour. And also Monday qualifiers. They changed the whole Monday qualifying system with pre-qualifiers, which isn't necessarily a bad thing with the pre-qualifiers, but one thing that I don't like about the Corn Ferry Tour qualifiers is that they used to be 7 spots at 2 different courses. You know what I mean? Now it's 4 spots. I mean, they took 6 spots away, which is a big deal. That's a lot of spots for Monday qualifying.
Yeah, that is. I
And,
didn't know that.
I remember they changed that during COVID because they were trying to get more members starts because it was COVID and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, right.
I've also heard them in these meetings, they were changing the prices is what it was. It used to be $150 when I started playing to go play a Corn Ferry Tour Monday, and there was 7 spots at each site. And one of the things that they said, there's 2 main points that they said in the meetings, this is the tour meetings, was, 1, we are going to raise the price sorry, I should say first. One, Corn Ferry Tour is a tour that's built to play your way on. Okay. So like a good point would be like Camilo Villegas when
Yeah, yeah,
he
right.
first came was like he just went out Monday qualified, started playing well, getting in more events. You know, they had the top 25 rule. If you're top 25, you're just automatically in the next week.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So you can
Right.
just kind of build like that. Right.
Yeah.
Um, and so they said, you know, that's why we're making Corn Ferry the gateway because like it's easier to play on, you know,
Yeah.
that's good proving ground. And it was like that. But then they took spots away during COVID, but they also raised the prices and then they continued to raise the prices. Now they're $500 to go play. It might even be more
What?
than that now.
Oh my
Yeah, it's
god.
500 to go, 500 a pop just to go play one round.
That's
And
oh my god, dude.
so the reason they said that
That's
or that they changed
insane.
that is they said we're trying to one, it's a good money getter for the PGA sections because they're the ones who facilitate the event and it's
Right.
a little like fundraiser for them. But two, they said we're trying to deter Joe Schmo from coming out and trying to qualify. We because there's getting it's this overrun. They're trying to get quality players. But when you just raise the price, right? You you don't deter Joe Schmo. Joe Schmo doesn't give a rip if it's 500 or 300 or 200 because he's playing one. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because he's local. And
And
by the way, you should have a local guy try to come out. That's the whole
what and
point.
that's and what do you and define quality? I mean, you could have a low quality player who's got a lot of money from his family,
Well,
right?
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Money doesn't mean quality, and that's the
Yeah.
mentality that they brought into this. That they could say, hey, if you played Q school, then you're in a certain category, and maybe you're paying less, or maybe you're allowed to play, or hey, you're not allowed to play if you didn't play Q school, or let's say you're just come out of college, or maybe you're an amateur. There's different things they can do. But they should just keep that open and keep it as cheap as possible. But instead, they saw it as a money grab, and they said, "Oh, we're trying to deter Joe Schmo." But guess what? The guys who's actually chasing it, who's trying to go Monday qualify every week, if you raise the price $100, you know,
Oh,
from
dude.
400 to five, you just raised it 1,000 on him because he's playing 10 times or 15 times.
Yeah.
Joe Schmo is paying it one time; he doesn't care.
Yeah.
So again, it deterred people from chasing the Mondays, in my opinion, plus the four spots. So that's why when I started playing again after during COVID, I had the whatever rekindled my career. I said, screw that. I'm doing PGA Tour qualifiers because if there's only four spots,
Yeah. I
might as
mean,
well go to the PGA Tour.
you can make a career that way a lot easier, right? You make a cut,
Yeah,
you never know, right? That's
well, you never know. I mean,
yeah,
Patrick Reed played his way on and all that stuff, and other guys have done it too. But or Corey Connors. Corey Connors, I think, is the last guy to
did that
win
right.
a PGA Tour event after Monday qualifying. But you know, yeah, if you're gonna gamble, so to speak, you might as well do the PGA Tour because now the pre-qualifying is tough about it because it just adds extra days of travel, yada yada yada. But if you do make a
It's
cut on the PGA Tour, you can get exempt through pre-qualifying. There's other ways to get exempt.
okay.
But even doing that is worth it in my opinion because the field is a lot smaller. You've got one course for four spots, the same as Corn Ferry, which would be two courses for four spots, but they're going to be double tee times on the Corn Ferry. Everybody's chasing Corn Ferry. But PGA Tour, you're going to have a handful of guys who get through the pre-queue, which usually is pretty easy depending on the event because of
Well,
other
sometimes you
reasons.
can shoot 1 under, 2 under and get through the pre-queue, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
nothing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because it depends on the events. If they're earlier in the year when the Corn Ferry guys haven't started playing yet, everybody's there. So there'll be like not that many spots, et cetera, et cetera. But if you wait later in the year or middle of the year,
Yeah, like the
then
Wyndham in North Carolina. That's a good one.
yeah, exactly. Wyndham. Yeah, like there might be like 16 spots or something like that for a pre-queue.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what ends up happening is you get a bunch of PGA Tour guys who aren't in that week that go play, or they sign up but they don't even show up. And there's four spots. They play great golf courses for the PGA Tour Mondays, and they've set them up pretty tough, like proper. So you can get in shooting. I got in the Fries. Now it was at Bayonet Golf Club in Monterey, which is a total bear, by the way.
Oh
I
yeah.
shot 2 under. I shot 2 under in the Monday qualifier and got in to the
Oh.
Fries. I come open. This was like it was the first event Tiger came back and played after his scandal in like 2011.
Oh, that's awesome.
Bro, 2 under got me in. Now I was great golf because that course is a beast. But I think the other one I made in was 5 under. So most of the time, if you shoot 4, 5, 6 under, you're in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Corn Ferry events, you got to go out on some shisty golf course and shoot 11 under and then win a playoff. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
100%.
crazy.
Dude, you
It's
gotta
crazy.
be
So
low 60s on those things from what I've
that's my
heard.
advice. I think if I was to go back, I'm like semi-retired right now. It's tough for me to chase it. I got a whole other host of things going on, but
Well, you're a dad
um,
now, dude.
and I'm a dad, bro. I mean, a dad. I mean, can still do it, but no. I mean, I'm getting my feet underneath me here in Europe. I mean, I've changed continents. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going on,
Right, right.
rebuilding life a little bit. But no, I think if I was to go back, or if I was to advise somebody
Yeah.
who's like not got the longest runway, whether it's physically or financially, is if you had a shred of Corn Ferry status, you're exempt through um, the pre-queue for PGA Tours
Yeah.
Monday. I think even if you're playing as full schedule, I would still go out and try to Monday qualify
Yes.
quite a bit, even because you could do it. I mean, especially if you looked at the schedule in certain places, you
Yeah.
could go Monday qualify for the PGA Tour event, fly out Monday night to your Corn Ferry event, and
Yeah.
be there to play that. And yeah, it would be a little bit tired if you're doing that. You don't have to do it every week, but I would do that as much as possible because like why not, man? Like it's there. And guys, I'm surprised guys don't do this. I know it could be expensive, yada yada, yada. But
Yeah.
like again, it's about taking advantage of the opportunity where you're at and going for it.
I agree.
So
It's a great,
anyways,
yeah. No, I
good
agree. You gotta
good
chase.
stopping for me, but
Well, yeah, brother, I appreciate the conversation, man. I encourage people who are watching this, please listen to Eric very carefully because what he's saying is not just him looking at a computer. This you're getting it from a guy who has actually been in it, seen it, lived it, played it. And so this is very valuable information, especially for you young guys that are interested in trying to make something out of this game. Because, like you said, nowadays it's you got to be very particular. You got to be very picky on what you play, and you have to really understand how to work the system in your favor. And so, and nowadays it's a little bit tougher than it was 10, 15 years ago. So, um,
yeah,
yeah,
it's getting complicated, bro. And if
yeah,
I might just like self plug real quick, if anybody wants to follow me on Instagram, I do check my DMs often. If you need anything like advice, coaching, whatever, like mental game, swing stuff even. I mean, like there's a lot more to golf than just swing. I mean, I'm happy to help with that too, but just DM me there. It's Erik Flo on Instagram, ERIKFLO. If you want to drop me some like conspiracy reels, that's cool too.
well, that's what we
Um,
need to. That's our
no,
thing. Don't take that from me. I look forward to those every
no,
day,
bro,
dude.
I got that thing with a lot of people. Don't worry. How do you think I get all the good reels, bro? I got people searching them for me. I'm happy to help some people. Like I think one of the things that I'm passionate about and I'm finding out about is just helping guys transition into the professional game. I made my fair share of mistakes for sure. And just like transitioning from high school to college, there's people to help you do that.
Yeah,
But the professional game's a little bit different and I'm happy to help. I'm not like an agent or something like that who has like some motives. I'm looking to invest in guys and help you out. I also caddy as well. So that's probably about the most hands on.
yeah,
That's a recent thing that I started doing, but it's probably the most hands-on coaching in a way that you can do because you can really dissect a person's game when you're standing right next to them playing rounds of golf in tournament play.
yeah,
Um,
100%.
that you cannot get that on a driving range. You cannot get that from looking at stats. I mean, even though all that stuff is helpful, I'm not saying it's not. You want to have feedback on results, but there's just a nuance at the level that guys are playing at now with the equipment the way it is.
Yeah,
A quarter shot around is the difference between having a career and not having a career. I'm a testament to that because I struggled. I mean, I never reached my potential personally that I felt I could do. But at the same time, there's a lot of wisdom that comes from making mistakes.
You can't teach experience, brother. You can't teach experience. You just can't. When people can learn from someone with experience, that is the best information you will get, especially in this game of golf.
Yeah, absolutely. So hit me up on it, Instagram, whatever, or tell me I sucked on this podcast. That's cool too. I get hate
No,
mail sometimes.
no, this is the whole point of it. Looper talk, dude. You got two caddies talking shit, and I don't want to even consider Erik. Yes, he is a true caddy for sure, but he's a little more accomplished than that. He's done a lot more than just carry bags, and so that's why we are very thankful to have him on my podcast. But he's a great dude. This has been a very valuable conversation. I'm very thankful to be friends with him, and hopefully you all who are listening will gain a little piece of knowledge. And yeah, again, DM him or even DM me if you want, talk some shit, or if you want to figure out pathway. He would definitely be a lot more advisable on that than most people, even most of your modern golf coaches, because you're talking to somebody with experience. You got any final
Sure.
words? Rock and
No,
rolling.
man. Thanks for having me. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I've been watching from the sidelines. It's been cool to watch you grow, and I hope you continue to grow and finding your voice. I can tell, and you're touching on. I mean, I don't agree with everything you say. That's okay too. I just I know, but I know you're touching on some things that need to be addressed in the game that are being overlooked, and
I'm trying to create opportunity. That's my goal.
yeah,
I want to make
that's
it accessible, and that's
yeah,
the beauty of it. We're not supposed to agree on everything, but I want
exactly.
people to disagree with me and give me ideas, and then I can modify those ideas. That's the beauty of it. Is I know I'm not right, and I know you feel the same way in that. But if we come together and more people come together, we can create a solution or something that everybody can be a part of. That's the beauty of conversation, and that's the beauty of debate. And I think that's something that not only in the golf world, but we kind of need as a whole in whatever we're doing in life. And so that's my end goal.
Sure,
And,
for sure, man. I
yeah.
think too many people fall into the trap of thinking communication is about agreement,
Mhm.
and communication is actually about understanding.
Yes.
If you're making the goal to understand what the other person, not to agree with them,
Yes.
and you're making the goal to be understood yourself,
Hmm.
then that's what communication is about. And too many people be like, well, I don't agree with them, so I'm going to stop listening. Or I don't agree with this, so I'm going to put him in this category. And then when they categorize you, then they think for you, right? They go, well, they're this. So
Hmm.
then I already know everything else that they believe in, and I don't agree with that. And they cut it off, right?
Okay.
And then it becomes me versus you versus me. And I mean, that's the polarization effect, but it's like in a false way, right? It's
Yeah.
just all
Not. It's
projection,
non-productive, really.
not productive. And it's also, I mean, even in society, red pill stuff, that's people that are divided are easily controlled and easily ruled. And so, yeah, communication, bro, is about understanding. So yeah,
That's
all I'm just saying, like, I
that's
can talk to somebody that I don't agree with, and that's fine. It's good to be nuanced, and it's okay to like listen and be like,
100%.
"Hey, man, well, I think you're touching on something here, but maybe we can help you steer the ship because everybody has blind spots in their life, bro."
Yeah, that's
Like,
you are literally saying exactly what I believe. It's so parallel to what I believe in. You're saying it in a much more educated way. I feel like
hey,
because you're
I went to UCLA, so
yeah, I
I was
went to
just
North Carolina State, so we're like math people over there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all. There's nothing more you can say after that. If we come together as a society instead of split, then we are harder to control, and then we can really come up with things that are concrete and can really prolong the life of pro golf and can change things in a positive manner for everybody. And like you said, sometimes we have to have disagreements with each other to figure out where that middle ground is. But if we become more congruent with those ideas and find a base there, then we become unstoppable and we actually grow.
Yep. Yeah, there's
But
definitely a culture war in golf right now. I mean, there's a culture war going on in a lot of areas of life, but specifically to golf, there's a bit of a culture war right now. Golf is still in a way like redefining its identity because it is becoming more accessible. There are different demographics that are interested in the game.
yeah,
COVID was actually a huge part of that because there wasn't a lot to do, and so people started playing golf and loving it. But there's just a bit of I don't want the site like I'm totally a traditional guy. I have a very traditional family. I believe in a lot of traditional values. However, and I believe in the tradition of golf. I love it. However, we don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater in this transition, and there's a little bit of tightness of control that's hurting the growth and kind of steering the ship in a wrong way. And then there's another side that maybe is too loose and like letting too many things happen. You know what I mean? Like the Ryder Cup was out of control. I mean, it was, and then the PGA of America guy was like, "Oh no, it was fine," and it's like, bro,
and then he
no,
resigns, right? You know,
yeah,
yeah,
and I mean, bro, they had the girl that was leading the chants. You can look up this video. I know you've seen it, but the girl who was leading the chants to the American crowd, wasn't she saying like "fuck you, Rory"? I mean, like it's like, bro, there's no place for that in golf.
no,
Like, I mean, okay, if a player wants to say that because they hit a bad shot, okay, whatever. That's fine, or whatever. That's just the way it is. It's
I
not.
know
That's
that, but and then they were talking about his family and his daughter and shit, and I was like, okay,
oh, I mean, yeah, and
here,
by the way, Rory's wife is American. Half of their wives are American,
I know,
but that should tell you something.
I know, and
They're
yeah,
stealing our women. Why is that? Because they're cool, man. Like, Luke Donald, wife American.
yeah,
John Rahm, wife American.
yeah,
They're stealing our women, bro.
it's so
They're,
true.
because why? I mean, I'm just kind of
Yeah.
being funny about it, but you know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah, there's something to say there though, right? It's
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, you gotta I'm all for rooting for your team. I'm all for even like cracking jokes and stuff. I was in Rome when we were playing there. I went down to watch and not so far from Vienna. And yeah, I mean, the fans were throwing some cheeky comments and stuff. The British English guys, I would say, were the worst, but everybody else was fine. Like, they might chirp a little bit at Brooks. Brooks likes to get chirped at and kind of gives it back a little bit, which is why people like him. But they weren't saying grotesque stuff. They weren't just blatant. I mean, it was embarrassing what
there's some
happened.
integrity there, right? Yeah,
A little bit. I mean, like, and people were nice to the American fans that came. There was a lot of American fans there. They might have chirped at you a little bit, but they were still welcoming. You know what I mean? Like in a lot of ways. And their chants are so much better, bro. Like I got some sick videos from
Uh,
like being in the metro station, right? Just going on a subway back as the tournament's over. And the whole train is just like, Tommy, Tommy, Tommy. Like the whole platform, everybody there is going crazy, dude. It
that's
was so
amazing.
cool, man.
Like so cool.
And so yeah, there's something to be learned there.
Yeah, right.
But by the way, I'm not an American hating basher. Like, oh, I left America. I love America. I bleed red, white, and blue. I'm not. I don't want to sit here and bag on America. I'm trying to help us become better, and
Yes,
I think we lost our way a little bit in that stuff.
I agree. So agree.
And the Europeans aren't perfect either. I'm just saying, like, there is a culture, there is a togetherness, I mean, even the tours are different. Corn Ferry, PJ Tour, like, everybody's kind of to themselves. They're not super friendly to everybody. Doesn't mean they're bad guys. They have their friends that they hang out with and stuff too. But at the end of the day, on a challenge tour event, you just see groups of guys sitting around having beers. They're not getting hammered. They're just having beers, talking about their day, talking about what's going on, whatever. They're just chilling and it's guys from different countries,
Yeah.
and they're all speaking English and stuff for the most part, which is great because you can chime in and stuff too as an American. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun seeing that side of it where you're like, oh, there is a camaraderie here. There is hey, we left the competition on the golf course. Like we're still human beings and we still like to just hang out. You know what I mean? It's not, some people kind of work to live. and other people live to work. That's American mentality. It's live to work. And we kind of have to be that way with the economy right now, and
yeah.
inflation and all that stuff. So I get it. We're under the thumb of the man and stuff like that. But the value over here is a little bit different. You know what I mean? And that goes it comes through in different ways, and it's pleasant to be around. So I do enjoy that aspect. But all right, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
We'll do it again sometime, maybe.
Dude. So thank y'all for watching. Yeah, again, follow my man here. Is it Erik Flo, I believe. It's on Instagram. And if you guys have any advice, or you need advice, this would be one of the people I would definitely try to hit up. Again, you're talking to somebody with experience. You're talking about a legit player who has been in these tournaments and knows the structure of the game. So, all right, guys, don't forget, lighten your bags, 200 strap. Y'all have a good night.